What is up, everybody? Keith Jameson. Go back to 31 across the DFS industry. Hopefully the audio is fixed. I remembered the hardwire for the cards today. Going to be on the road a lot, so may have a couple videos coming by the end of this. But looking forward to the 4-game EPL slate on Saturday. Hope you all had a great week of soccer. Let's just get right into it. So quick reminder, like, subscribe, comment. You enjoy these videos and the content is always appreciated. Let's go right into it. Big thing on the slate is how are you going to handle Manchester United minus 334 at home to Watford. The next biggest favorite on the slate is Brighton plus 120. I'm sorry, it's Crystal Palace minus 110 home to Burnley. We've got Brighton plus 125 hosting Villa and Brentford plus 145 hosting the suck bowl of the game week against Newcastle. All right, let's talk about Manchester United. I think the biggest thing, one, I think Ronaldo might rotate. I think there's a really good shot that we see if Cavani's fit or Rashford up top. But we will see. If he's in, though, he will be the biggest decision point on the slate. He's Ronaldo. He's always going to get ownership. But people are still treating him as the Ronaldo that got tons of peripherals, that got a lot of shots, that drew fouls. And right now, Ronaldo is kind of just a number 9 that obviously has talent, obviously can finish. But it's not the same Ronaldo that we saw at Juventus, that we saw at Real Madrid. He's not going to get you 12 floor points on top of the goal upside. So you got to kind of have to go into it going, if he gets 60K and he doesn't get a goal or assist, am I going to be screwed? And I think the chances are that you are. I faded him the last 2 slates. Did not feel great about it either time, but it made all the difference. So I'm more than likely to fade again because I think there are some forward plays, but I can't fault anybody that plays him. Your locks are Bruno and whoever's at left back. I hope that it's Alex Tejas. I'm kind of over the Luke Shaw season. He's been kind of the guy that you felt like obligated to play because he's going to take a majority of sets and he's a left back and he could cross a lot. And then you realize it's Luke Shaw and he just is back to sucking again from a DFS perspective. So I really hope it's Tejas, who is much more DFS friendly. He's going to cross a lot more in open play. I think he would be just fine. But they will split sets with Bruno. We always will be talking about Bruno. Sorry, Encanto. It's going to always be a troll, by the way, on here. Like, my son loves that movie and that song too much. I just always have to go, we don't talk about Bruno. No. But yes, in DFS. So Bruno to me is a lock. Just easy, lock and load. You're going to get your double digits. You're going to get goal upside. You're going to get assist upside, all that good stuff. Delo should be back on the side at right back. I think he's fine. The hardest part on this slate is that there's so many set-taking fullbacks. To take a non-set-taking fullback that doesn't charge forward a ton is tough. Pogba, I like for GPP. I'm kind of bearing the lead. I think Jaden Sancho, we're actually starting to see the Jaden Sancho from Dortmund back, creating a lot of chances, goal and assist upside. I think he's going to be a very, very popular first forward shot. And then again, if you see like Alanga or you see Rashford or Cavani, I think all those guys are in play. For Watford, I'm not going to be on them much. I think Kiko Femenia is the best play. If Luza is in, he's fine for like punts. Ben Foster, #revenge. I don't know if anybody can actually remember that Ben Foster was a Manchester United player, but that happened. That existed. Just like Tim Howard was a Manchester United player. It's weird to say, but those are facts you can look up. I think he's fine if you think they get onslaughted and nobody scores for United. He could get a huge amount. And then obviously if you want any like Watford strikers or anything like that, that's GPP only. All right, let's go to the next game. Palace hosting. It's like really bugging me that my notes I didn't put who they're hosting. But Palace hosting Burnley. I just want to start out actually with Burnley because I think they have 2 really, really good plays, and despite the odds, I'm very interested in them because the thing with Burnley is they do draw corners because when they get the ball, they're crossing it to their big strikers. They're crossing it to Weghorst or Jay Rodriguez, or I don't know if Ashley Barnes is fit. He doesn't seem like he ever is fit anymore. But they are DFS friendly. So if you do not see Maxwell Cornet, who I saw the update was he's touch and go, Dwight McNeil is a great forward option. He gives you I still go back to a game against City that I think Burnley lost 5 or 6 to nothing. Dwight McNeil on sets still put up double-digit floors. And this is not Manchester City. We're still talking about Palace here. who is not going to be like a super ball-dominant team. So I like Dwight McNeil to fill a forward spot. And then if no Ashley Westwood, Josh Brownhill is way too cheap at 3,600. He has back-to-back double-digit games. No, you're not getting 15 crosses or anything like that. He plays centrally. But you can get 3, 4, 5 crosses, a couple fouls drawn, shot assists, maybe a goal or assist like we've seen the last two. 3,600, I mean, he's by far my favorite value on the slate. So that's Burnley. If you do see Maxwell Cornet in, I think that you probably have to run for the hills on Dwight McNeil, because Cornet had been taking sets over him and does not nearly have as much floor as Dwight McNeil. All right, going to Palace. Palace sets are always a mess right now. More than likely, it's Conor Gallagher, the Chelsea loanee. I think he's a very, very solid play. He is definitely on my short list of midfielders if I'm spending up after Bruno. Scored last game, not much floor otherwise, but Conor Gallagher just seems more and more to be that guy that gets there. The issue with Gallagher becomes if we see like Luka Milojevic, who seems like very much out of the side, could take over him. If you see Eze in, Eze's taken over him, then Olise is probably a split. Palace sets are just a mess. I think that to play like Gallagher over like an Alexis McAllister, you'd have to see McAllister get like downgraded and Gallagher getting upgraded by like no set threat. Like last game was perfect for Gallagher. His floor wasn't good, but there was no set threats. So you can kind of go, okay, I'm good playing him. But yeah, that's Palace. Like Zaha in play, but he's expensive. Olise is fine, but expensive. Like they're all fine, but none of them are like, I want them. And their fullbacks aren't super active. You could take a punt there, but again, I kind of like fullback. I think this is a 3-defender slate in cash. And yeah, that's Palace. Brighton hosting Villa. Big thing on the Brighton side is just looking the whole McAllister Gross thing. If they're both in, they split, and it hurts both. If one's in without the other, it really, really helps. Solly March, obviously, being in could also complicate things, but he seems pretty out of the side. So yeah, I like Alexis McAllister quite a bit, if in. I think he's just a really good player. Former River, I believe River guy. Don't hold me to that. No, Boca guy. He was Argentina. But yeah, I think he's a good player. Even last game where he kind of disappointed, he still had like 9 floor. Gross is fine. Obviously, Gross becomes, without McAllister, Gross becomes a great second forward option as a home favorite. Cucurella, Lamptey are fine. Strikers for GPP. That's Brighton. I think this game's going to be close. I guess I should talk about the games. I think United kind of handles Watford. United needs a good game. Definitely think that they're going to be by far the best team to look at. I think Palace and Burnley. Palace could end up being good, but Burnley, I think Pope could be very much an option. I don't know. Burnley's just sneaky. I think Burnley's, just obviously I thought that Tottenham game was kind of very obvious to see that letdown was coming. I mentioned that on the preview. I just think Burnley, Sean Dyche always has that team ready to go. So they're going to give Palace a game. But I do like Palace for GPP. And then Brighton and Villa, I think is really, really going to evenly match. But it could have some good DFS goodness going both ways. Cucurella, Lamptey are fine, like as part of a stack. Like pair them, a set taker, and like a striker. And maybe you go from there. Villa, I think their sets are just gross. Like Douglas Luiz, you get... sorry, let me reject that. You get Douglas Luiz, Lucas Dean, the likely split. If you don't miss one of them, John McGinn can come into sets. Coutinho at some point still seems a threat for sets. Buendia is at the set for threats, even though they don't. I think I've been saying that wrong, but a threat for sets. I think I've been saying it differently, but anyhow, whatever. God. Anyhow, I'm not gonna re-record this. Like the mistakes are out in the open. It just is what it is. But like Coutinho and Buendia, like even though they're not taking them, they still could. They've both taken sets for teams for years. Like they have the ability to cross into corners. So, that's just always the concern. But I think Lucas Dean, sub 6K, is a really solid play there. He's probably my favorite Villa piece. And then, anybody else you want to do for mini stacks. We just saw Brighton struggle horribly at home. That little Amex advantage that I always mention kind of seems a little bit gone. But maybe they bounce back. Final game is computer went to sleep. Brentford hosting Newcastle. Brentford, God, they're just not that good. This is a game this is like a game that both teams are going in saying like we have to get a point. If you're Brentford, you say you have to get 3. If you're Newcastle, you go a point is great. For Brentford, I think it's a sneaky Brentford spot, despite them not being good. But if like Tony's not in, that's a big deal. But Brian Mbeumo back on some corners. He's definitely in the forward pool. Also gives you some goal upside. Matthias Jensen, he's cheap. He's coming off a really bad game, but he's still going to have some sets up in. The really cool thing would be is we saw Christian Eriksen in. I don't know how fit he would be, but he's been playing in some I think U23s or something like that. So he's getting close. Once Christian Eriksen comes in, that should be a set monopoly for Eriksen. So he's somebody to keep an eye on. I think if he's in, I'm still off just because I don't think the fitness is fully there, like the game fitness. But I would be intrigued if nothing else. And then like for GPP, doing like a Mbeumo Eriksen stack, that's kind of cool. Sergi Canales is, I guess, in play, but I think that ship has kind of sailed. For Newcastle, no Kieran Trippier. Ryan Frazier is questionable. We saw Matt Targett on sets. I think Matt Targett's a great play here. Matt Targett, at his best, if we go back to like his championship days for Fulham, some of the time for Villa, even like the Southampton, he's a crosser. He does a lot of crossing. So he's sub 6K in a matchup that Newcastle is going to want to get a point in versus a Brentford team that isn't by no means great defensively. They will take it to teams that like to be on the front foot. I think Matt Targett makes a really good play. I think Newcastle is a little contrarian mini stack makes a lot of sense, like doing St. Maximin. People just are in love with Chris Wood. Chris Wood doesn't score goals, but I kind of like him this time. This is like the first week I kind of am looking, I'm like, I kind of like Chris Wood. So I think that he's puntable for forward. Is it Josh or Jacob Murphy? I can't remember which one they have, but in play. And then obviously you have Ryan Frazier, and he's back to being a defender. I don't know what Draftkings is doing with his positional eligibility, but he's back there. If then he would split with Target, be interesting as well. All right, I think that'll do it for the 4 games. Hope that this helps. Again, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, comment. And with that, I'll say, 2.